I have it on my phone.
Check, check, check. Check 1, 2. Check, check, check. Check 1, 2. Check, check, check. Check 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear.
Question. We'll go around once and then come back for follow-ups. Who'd like the first question? Adam?
Gregg, another tough result, like goal. What do you say to the team after a game like this? You know the numbers, it's been a tough stretch.
Yeah. Well, we're not victims in this whole thing. You know, the way we performed, we didn't deserve to win that game. And, you know, it wasn't a pretty soccer game all around. I mean, the whole thing wasn't pretty. You know, for the fans, our job is to come out here and entertain the fans and play attractive soccer, and we didn't do that. We didn't live up to our end of the bargain tonight. And it was hesitancy. It was guys not moving, guys not wanting the ball. And, you know, it's too bad because, you know, I think that especially as they got the red card, we could have gotten more out of that, and we didn't.
You talked a lot at the beginning of the season, you know, after a loss or a draw or whatever, about how, you know, it wasn't necessarily all about the results. Now it doesn't seem to be that you're getting the results and you're, you know, sort of feeling more negative about things. It's not as much a learning experience anymore. How do you sort of address, like, where do you go from here in terms of talking to the guys, and how do you sort of address this to them? Is it just simply you can do well enough? Or?
Well, I think, you know, it's still mixed. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not, you know, we're not saying we need to win the championship. That's not what we're saying. But, you know, we expect a certain level of performance, and that's what we're looking at. And then when you have that level of performance, you get a result. And a night like tonight, you know, as the tide turned and they got the red card, we should get a result out of that match. And, you know, we're disappointed, but like I said, we're not the victims here. We didn't play well enough to win that game, and that's a shame because it's a home game. You know, it's against, you know, an Eastern Conference rival, and I think, you know, we want to put ourselves in position to win that game.
Obviously, coming out of, you know, a loss in New York, trying to set the tone early on, but you know, being limited, you came out with a little bit of an unusual lineup, but you changed trying to obviously shake things up?
Well, what we wanted to do was we wanted to use our wide guys in a little bit higher, and then drop people in the middle a little bit more and create an advantage in the middle. And through the lack of movement, we weren't successful in doing that. When you're standing, you don't open up any space. And so I didn't think that was successful, and we needed to change things up. And we brought Adam in, and I think he actually had a good effect on the game. There was much more urgency in the second half, and I was much more pleased with the performance in the second half than in the first.
Ryan and Adam.
After the Rebels game, your admin saying it's really behind. I think what was up to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Is this result the same tone for you, or is this one kind of more of a learning process kind of game that you can remember and improve on with a quick turnaround?
No, I think it's a learning experience. I mean, you look at a lot of these plays. Will picks up his second yellow in the 89th minute. Like we can learn from that, and he can learn from that. There's some other plays that, we just need to get better on. And I think this is a good learning experience. And I think that, when we talk about tempo, when we talk about playing at home, we talk about movement, it wasn't there. The first half, it wasn't there. And, like I said, that we can learn from.
You talked about the first half.
It wasn't pretty, and which is fine. That's a tactic. They won the game, so I'm not gonna complain about it. But it wasn't an overall attractive game. But the back line, to answer your question, I think performed pretty well, and they haven't been playing together in 2 months, so again I think a little bit of rust in their communication and their movements and build up, but it's fine. I think they did a good job.
Aside from that Red Bulls game, the theme has sort of been that the defense has played well, and you guys just can't get the offense a lot of the time. Tonight again, it was 92 plus minutes of solid defense and not getting outgoing the run of play. At what point does the defense sort of start to get frustrated as they stand back?
I don't know. I think that we need to get our confidence back as a group, and you can see in the first half that the guys weren't confident, and that's what needs to improve, because they're good players, and when they're playing their best, they can be a very competitive team, and I think that we just need to get the guys confident, and then that's part of our job to build them up and get them to where they need to be for Saturday.
It seemed in the first half their high pressure with that front three was really bothering your back line, and even all the way back to Steve Clark. What did you do to sort of address that? Did you see it bothering them as much as it seemed? It seems like they sort of stopped that possession. You guys like to have that. Yeah,
they did a good job. It wasn't only them going 1 versus 1. It was all in the whole half, and it was a good tactic. It was a good tactic by them. It definitely disrupted us. I think when we did break it, we looked very dangerous, but by and large, we didn't do it nearly enough. And again, it's about guys being brave enough in situations. Yeah, he's doing good. Listen, he was out for however long he was. It was a while, right? I mean, and he's putting 2 90-minute shifts in, and the guy, there's one guy you can't